Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Final wash up of game 28. Look at 29 and one or two thoughts as the next few tricky game weeks unfold. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. One of the things I'm going to try and do going forward, I'm just going to try and get a little bit more structured with some of the stuff I'm doing, because sometimes, God, I'm like a rambling idiot at times. But just going to try, particularly for the game week reviews and team selections, just be a bit more structured so we can see where we're at. Let me know in the comments if you find it useful, if you like it, or if you just prefer my mad rambles. There will still be a bit of mad rambling in there. Let's be honest. But let's just kick off. Listen, it wasn't a bad game week. I've had about a 30k rank rise. Could have been a lot better. I do always find this interesting, and this is one of the reasons I want to bring a bit of structure to it, so there's a bit more, just structure and accountability on a weekly basis. But once again, my prediction is also bloody close. Yeah, I have no idea why this works, but it just seems to be weirdly accurate at times. Didn't really get much out of this morning's game. Bowen and Isaac basically cancelled each other out. So yeah, gained a couple of points, and then whatever I gained from the Bowen points was cancelled out by Isaac. It is a story of what might have been there, but there always is. We've all got a million tales to tell, haven't we? After a game week. Arsenal found a way to concede a daft goal, which I was kind of glad they did as a Man United supporter. But they had their wall, about a metre or so too far back, which made it obviously a lot easier for Bruno to get it up and down. Munoz was clean through, probably should have scored, but he had a really easy assist if he'd squared it across. Liverpool gave away a daft goal. Konate, no fault of his. That was a total Van Dijk and Alisson. God knows what they were doing. There's lack of communication there. I think that was probably the only chance they conceded in the match from what I saw of it. On the other hand, I had some luck. I mean, Salah once again came in came in with the captain's haul in a game where I thought he didn't have a particularly fantastic match. But Salah keeps doing it, doesn't he? Week in, week out. Bowen could have had a goal this morning. That would have made such a big difference to me. It would have been a huge differential. And Bemo didn't do much. Didn't do a huge amount. I don't think he had a single chance in the game. Cliver definitely could have mega hauled. Nothing there. Did the assist, so that was okay. Paid off. Yeah, Nkunku. We'll talk more about Nkunku. This is my big mistake, actually bringing Nkunku in, and I didn't have a chance, and I wanted to correct it. Just never got a chance. I was literally just away running a function in Auckland, and just didn't get a chance to get back before deadline and make changes off of the first draft of my wildcard. Wood, didn't expect too much, but I'm happy I've got Wood in. I'm happy with him going forward, and Haaland didn't do a great deal either, just with the 2-pointer. But again, pretty happy to have him in, because I'm already seeing, looking at some of the content providers out there, twisting themselves into pretzels, trying to work out how they're going to get him in, having to take hits, or changing their decision not to wildcard or free hit. I'm happy with 66 points. Yeah, I mean, it's a 30k rank rise. Could have been more. But let's have a little look. Just to my next section, by the numbers, just to show where I'm at. So again, for the uninitiated, I'm trying to get myself to a 70-point average. A 70-point average generally will get you well inside the top 100k. Now, I don't think I'm going to make it this year, unfortunately. However, points currently on 1,888 points, so that's an average of 67.5. Which is it's just a shame my game week number was just down on the 66, but that was kind of where I thought it was going to land. So it is what it is. Top 100k. So if I wanted to have hit the top 100k this week, 1,911 would have got you the top 100k, and the top 100k average is 68.25. So on that basis, I'm not a million miles off the mark, but as we all know, those that listen to me regularly, a flawed chip strategy at the beginning of the season that I got literally, in fact, I had downside on my free hit, if I just stuck with my normal team. Hasn't worked. And so it's just fighting now to try and see if I can get to that 70-point average and somehow get myself into that top 100k and staying there. It ain't going to be easy. The free hitters and the wild carders, and so there's still some triple captains out there. They're going to come and get me. Let's call a spade a spade. Interestingly, and I was actually listening to Gianni. I'm sure most of you listen to this, watch Gianni on his YouTube channel or follow him on Twitter and things. He actually had the current world number one on there this morning, and they're on 2,117 points, averaging 75.5. Only scored 61 this week, so yay, I beat them. Did the exact same strategy as me, so they won't be at number one much longer. They have no chips left. A bench boost. Bench boost is all they've got left. Blew them all early in the season to do what I was trying to do, which was get that buffer and then defend it. He has succeeded where I have failed, but I don't think he'll stay number one. As I say, with just the bench boost left. But yeah, fair play to him. Just a 15-year-old lad, and it is, well, again, I guess not dissimilar to me. First year of taking up, because I've only been playing for a few seasons. The first year I've actually really tried to focus for a whole season. And I've got lessons that I will have learned this year, which I'll take forward into next year. But overall, yeah, my average isn't bad. There's still a chance to get that to 70, so I'm just going to keep fighting hard for that as we go along. But the next game week is going to be a challenge because, unfortunately, in my wild card, as you can see here, players that I brought in. So we've got a reasonable team. Bearing in mind these numbers are without captaincy. I always take captaincy out of any of my predictions for that fudge factor. Anything that can happen will happen. So although this team does look like it's got a reasonably nice ceiling, based on the last game week that's gone with some of the players that I brought in, it's got and obviously I've taken out some of my larger scorers. It's got a fairly low floor as well. So based on that, my prediction, unfortunately, is just 54 points. Now, it is expected to be a fairly low-scoring week. My feeling is there's going to be a lot of teams out there are going to be taking hits. In fact, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of taking hits just to either get a full 11 out or just the team's not structured well. So blank game week 29 is going to be an interesting one. 54 points, I have a funny feeling this week could be enough to get a green arrow, but we don't know. It's going to be very interesting to go to live scores as soon as the game week kicks off, and that might start to give me an indication of how many teams out there have taken hits. If I suddenly, without doing anything, suddenly find I've taken a big rank rise. This is going to be a really interesting game week. I mean, hopefully the team, and we'll look at it a bit more closely on the FPL site in a minute. Hopefully it will get me decent green, and I've got really good fixtures there now. Obviously I've got all my blankers on the bench because I do then roll into 30, and I'm going to be able to get a pretty strong team out with very, very good fixtures. But I do have one question. I've got one transfer. The question does become, do I rectify one of my wildcard mistakes with a transfer? So just keep an eye on that. Gibbs White, a nice average there of 7, which has certainly helped to boost these numbers just a little bit. And that could equally read. In fact, Hudson-Odoi's numbers are almost identical, but with a more, and he's cheaper as well, a more even spread of the points as opposed to so much been wrapped up in one. Hudson-Odoi's been looking good and is averaging pretty much the same numbers, and he's a lot cheaper, which could make him if I did do something. And again, you've got a few nice fixtures here because anyone that I did bring in, if I was to bring a transfer in, they've really got to look fairly good going forward because it's got to be, it's got to be for long term. And I've also got to look towards. I don't know if you guys can see. Just have a look to make sure you can see. Oh yeah, you can see that. Yeah, we look here. You know, some of these fixtures are going to be moving into this double, and we're going to have the blanks here. So I've got to make sure I have enough transfers to manage through that reasonably well. Certainly not going to be optimal. However, how often do we think we put an optimal team out and it doesn't give an optimal performance? So getting the right players at least in the double and then coming out is going to be very important. So this will start to take a sort of a much clearer picture by the time we have the next round of FA Cup matches, and hopefully they start to announce where these doubles are going to fall, which is expected to be 33, but that's not certain yet. So again, just got to tread carefully there. But anyway, at the moment, yeah, we're looking at a prediction of 54 points for next week, unless I do something to try and up that average a wee bit, which could be rectifying my mistake. So just a quick look here. Yeah, so that's it. So currently just outside the top 200k, and as I say, not just what 14 or 15 points, I guess, outside the top 100k. And so a few goals this week would have had me very, very close to it. But we ain't there, and my question does become the Nkunku error, which I could have corrected, but because of the way my the busyness of the week, I didn't make that change, and certainly don't like. It's the only thing that's irking me. If I go to pick team for the week, so hopefully that low prediction is rectified a wee bit by getting a decent return. Because we do rely on captain returning. Anything, 10 pointer for Haaland double to 20 would be great, because there are some really good fixtures there, and I do feel there are points there that could get turn that 54 into a 70 plus. So keeping my fingers crossed for a bit of luck there. But the one cloud I have in that team, I think, because I actually do like most of those fixtures. Hopefully we see a return to form for Mbeumo. Bowen's averages would suggest he would return next week. We'll see. It was a bit disappointing this morning against Newcastle. Surprised Newcastle kept a clean sheet. But overall, those fixtures do look pretty good. And remember, we only need 4 or 5 players to return, and suddenly, you can be making hay, provided they're reasonable returns. It is this Nkunku. Excuse me. Yeah, just knock that out. It is this Nkunku one. I have a transfer. The fixtures for Forest are good in the next 2, but it uses a transfer that will it be better to say no, leave it. Made the mistake, just eat it. Who knows? Nkunku might get a jammy goal against Arsenal. Can't see it. Can't see Chelsea scoring, in all honesty. But it is football, and stranger things have happened. Or you get a Hudson-Odoi, 5.2. That actually saves me a bit of money, gets a bit more money in the bank. I've got 1 million in there at the moment. Put some more money in the bank. And then and then I've got really very, very nicely set up for the next few fixtures. Or do I just leave it because Nkunku can go on the bench next week? Next week, anyways, as Salah, Manaz, and Konate come back in. I'm 50-50. Do I suck it up and hope for an Nkunku miracle against Arsenal, and then he can just sit on the bench until I change him for probably a Murphy or something like that when we have the Newcastle Crystal Palace doubles? Probably should save the transfer, but I do think there's some short-term upside there, and also just to get those averages up a wee bit, so I'm getting closer towards that 70 next week. You can hear my brain ticking. 50-50, really 50-50. What do you think? The objective is, as I say, to try and hit 70 a week. And sometimes maybe I have to be reactive on a week-by-week basis. And I think bringing in a Forest asset with those fixtures, they certainly look good for a few weeks. I think that there could be decent upside there. The other one is to look at as well, although his numbers are not quite as good as Elanga. He just bombs down that wing and he just throws the ball into a wood. And again, he's a great price. Hindsight, really should have put a Forest player in there instead of Nkunku when I did that first draft. However, it is what it is. I'm going to mull on that one. That's kind of where we're at. I will come back with a final team selection and whether I'm just going to stick on this and let it roll or whether I do that transfer. We've obviously got some European matches to come through, and although I don't think any of my starting 11, I'm just looking through that with my head, Arsenal would be. Yeah, definitely want to wait just to see how the European matches play out, make sure there's no injuries or anything like that. Even if it was like, if Salah or someone or Konate got injured, that will obviously affect decisions as well around transfers. Even though they're not playing next week, it will have future ramifications. So, need to get through those European matches and make a decision. Then Nkunku out, Gibbs White in, Hudson-Odoi, Elanga. Make that team look mint. See how we go. Anyway, in the meantime, hope most of you had a great game week. It's been a low scoring week. I did have the benefit of doing that wild card, which just I think gave me a little bit of luck. And if I did actually measure that wild card team against my other team, that I would have had to field if I hadn't done it. If I had kept my injured players and benched them and just gone with what I had, maybe just one transfer, there would have been about 15 points difference. So I'm up about 15 points roughly. I won't spreadsheet you to death on that one. I'm up about 15 points at the moment, which is good. A bit more would have been nice. I think I predicted it was be about a 20-point difference as I looked at it. So not too far out on that. So yeah, a few things to think about. I thought I was just going to I just was going to go with this. It was just when I was just started looking at it this morning. Oh, bad decision. Anyway, is what it is. Have fun, play your own game, don't panic. I hope you're all sitting on greens or at least greyish colours at the moment because it has been a tricky game week. There's an even trickier one to come. Talk soon. Bye bye.